up, guys, to a Team Fortress 2 Scouts tips and tricks or whatever for Scout. And today we're going to be talking about the Scout's weapons, his different weapons, and what makes Scout's difference between his speed and his double jumps, and how his different loadouts give him different abilities that change him a lot from his default loadout. So his default loadout is Scattergun, Pistol, and Bat. The scattergun, it is a very dangerous weapon, up close range at point blank. It does a lot of damage, but the thing about the scattergun, since it's a spread weapon, it loses in effectiveness. So the farther you are away, the less damage it does, but the closer you are and the more pellets you hit, the more damage it does. And the second weapon, pistol, is for hitting far range weapons, and since TF2 has like the smallest recoil ever, it's not going to hit every bullet, even if you have to cross it right on there. Now the bat does a very small amount of damage, but if you get crits on the bat, it does a lot of damage. So if you get a crit while using a bat, you only need 2 bats. And now the scout is a fast class, but is one of the most special things about him is double jump. His double jump can be even used to jump over any class, which makes him very dangerous and very useful. And it is very useful for conquering other classes or chasing other classes down that are running away. And especially the most easiest class for the scout to chase down is the heavy. The heavy is the most slowest class in the game, and the scout can just chase him down like he's nothing. And this makes the scout the heavy's worst enemy, especially if a heavy had like low health and a scout, and he knew a scout was chasing him. He's more than likely, he's practically guaranteed to excuse me, to not get away. Now the second slowest class is the soldier. The soldier, is like maybe like 10% faster than the heavy. It's not a big difference at all. They are both extremely slow classes, and if the um heavy and soldier would have raced, the soldier would win by probably like 3 seconds. Now the demo is a little bit slower, just a little bit slower than the default speed. Now the reason why that is because he's a drunk and everything. And now the pyro, engineer, sniper, and spy speed. All 4 of those classes, this is the default speed. This is the third class you're gonna. These are the third speed they're gonna have the most trouble catching up to. Now the medic speed, it is not that much different from the average speed, but it is actually harder to catch up. As I was chasing the medic down, and he was actually successful to make it all the way to the thing before I got there. So the medic actually has some can put some distance between a scout if he starts running far and the scout doesn't react in time, which gives a very good advantage to the medic. Now, the class that you cannot catch up to if you guys were both running in a straight line is the scout. I put the scout speed on the medics and stuff. You cannot catch up to them if you're both running in a straight line. If you're jumping, no matter what you do, unless you have like a baby face or you have the mini crit soda popper thing of the drink, then you're not gonna catch up. Even if you jump, no matter what you do, you cannot catch up if you have a default scatter gun. Unless he's slowed down or something, it's not gonna happen. And also, the scout is the hardest thing to hit. It's not meant to be headshot. See, as a crosshair's headshot, I see blood's coming from his head, but it actually takes headshot damage from his neck, which is pretty interesting, I guess, because he has different hitboxes. All classes have different hitboxes. I think the scout's more difficult. So let's get into the weapons. The Babyfaced Bastard. You will start super slow when you start practically as fast as the soldier. The more damage you do, the faster you get until you reach full boost, and that's when you're twice the amount of the average scout speed, which is pretty fast. But every double jump you do, it undoes the boost. But you can build up your boost with any weapon. Man, I am sick today, but yeah, even with the bat, based on how much damage you do is how much to build up. Say if I did like 1 damage, even though it's impossible, I think it's not gonna do anything. But if I say like if I did like 104, it would probably been filled up. See, even 59 gets like over half. The next weapon is Backscatter. The Backscatter is supposedly okay. So the Backscatter has no random crits. It is supposedly less accurate, but I've never had a problem with it. But the thing that makes it amazing, at close range, you get mini crits. So that is very useful when you're chasing down a class. You get mini crits, which is pretty darn useful. It gives no the reason why it's probably less accurate is because of the weapon spread. It's not like the perfect square like the scatter gun gets. It's all spread out. Every shot before you get it gets separates even more and more. But I guess that's fair for the mini crit from behind. The Force of Nature, I personally really like because of its knockback. It gets knockback as faster firing, um, but has less damage in a really small clip. But that's the amazing thing about it is so much knockback and so much you can do with that. And the most amazing thing that helps Scout's abilities is a Force of Nature jump. Basically, when you jump and you shoot down, you get more air, and so you can see there's a difference on. It depends on angle. You can make yourself do a break like jump, shoot, and you'll break. And now the soda popper. The soda popper. The only difference is there's no knockback, and instead of like a force jump, when you build up the height, you alt fire, which is right click, and you get 5. I repeat, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 extra jumps. I really hate doing this because I'm coughing a lot all of a sudden. But you activate it. It is limited time, but you have 5 times extra jump with any weapon, but you can only build your height with the soda popper, which is a very useful tool for running away or even juking out heavy for you to get over his head. You know, keep on dancing. And if you can keep that accuracy up for longer, it would be useful. Now we're gonna get into secondary weapons. As I get backstab, I know you're tired of getting backstab or damage. Now the bonk, it makes you invincible for 8 seconds, but on TR walkway, since it's constant regeneration, it doesn't happen. But when you drink it, you go into third person, you run, you get a little blur. For 8 seconds, you're like that, and you're invincible. Next is a Pretty Boy Pocket Pistol. It has slower firing, you're more vulnerable to fire damage, a lot more vulnerable. And you take 0 fall damage and you have more health, which is an upside. And with any weapon you have out, you do not take fall damage. So on TR Walkway, I put in the console TR_teleport, which lets you fall down from a biggest height. See that? No fall damage. If you get the bat or the scatter gun out, it would still be the same effect. Now the Mad Milk. When you throw it on someone, as you see the health going up on the left, the more damage you do, the more health you get back. And it's very useful to keep your team's survivability up. Now the Flying Guillotine, it is very useful with the Sandman, but I forgot to do that. But when someone is stunned and you hit him with the Flying Guillotine, it does 150 damage. And the Flying Guillotine, it does mini crits from a long distance, and here's why to me, it is very hard to hit someone from a high distance. You need to have good range on them, or it's gonna you have to have a good height of elevation of where your aim is. But other than that, Flying Guillotine is very easy to hit. Now, next is the Winger. It only has 5 clips, but it does more damage. It gives you extremely bigger jump, and does more damage. I'm pretty sure I just said that. But it makes it easier to reach hard to high places, as the other classes can't get. And it is very useful for different situations that you need to jump higher for. Now, the melee weapons. The Rap Assassin, it does extremely low damage, but the thing about it, alt fire releases the Festive Ball that makes people bleed, and the damage is not that much, but when you're bleeding, you can add more stuff. So, 3 balls does not kill a medic that fast as you think. You would think, oh, 3 balls of one person. But no, it doesn't do that much. You can gain the effective out of it if you do that, and you keep on shooting them. But if you do just try to let them bleed, it's not gonna happen unless you have like the sniper's bleed weapon, which does more damage. But if you make them shoot it, but if you're shooting while they're bleeding, it increases their death time and becomes extremely useful for finishing off enemies pretty quickly. Next is the Atomizer. Atomizer, it has less damage and it swings slower. But what's so great about it, if it has those 2 crappy stuff, you get a triple jump. You know, it'd be like, hey, okay, what am I supposed to do with a triple jump? What you're supposed to do with this triple jump is that you can go to different stuff, but the triple jump does 10 damage to yourself. But the triple jump is very cool and very amazing. You get a purple cloud under you, so when you know you do a triple jump, you can just look down and look for that purple cloud. And this is very useful with the force of nature, so you can do a quadruple jump, which is possible. Now back to the first person. Now the next one is gonna be the candy cane. The candy cane, it does the same amount of damage, but when you get a kill with any weapon, as long as you have the candy cane in the slots, the health pack drops. But the thing is, you are 20% more vulnerable to explosives. Now to the Sandman. Sandman, I love the Sandman. It takes off only about a 15 health from you, which is not that much. It's really not. And what the cool thing is, the farther you are, the longer it stuns. But if you're like really close to someone with the Sandman, it's not gonna stun them. It's probably just gonna do 15 damage to them. But if you actually stun with someone, if you're in their fire, they stand completely still, and you can literally run up to them. They cannot move. They're completely defenseless, and you can legitly just taunt kill them, and they just stand still for such a long time. And it's very hard to do it when you're trying to do it on purpose, because on the take where I messed up so badly, I just got it on accident. I was like, wait, what? I never knew you could do that. See, look at that. So much time, but on Tier Walkway, you know, it's moving because they have no choice but to move because they're bots. But see, he was still stunned. He couldn't do anything about it. Unless he was being an idiot and just suicided. You're not. I was like, you know what? You will not taunt kill me, sir. I'm just gonna suicide. Now, the next is Sun on a Stick. It does very low damage, but is a guaranteed crits when an enemy's on fire. So we're gonna have the help of our pyro. We're gonna light 2 enemies up, and then we're gonna hit them with the Sun on a Stick. Now we have 2 enemies on fire. We're gonna. There's still random crits, but it is a guaranteed one with the fire. See, it was a good one. Bam. You see, no guaranteed crits, but there's still random crits, not like those other weapons. So thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later. The demons inside, so whoever the ones